Good morning. I'm Craig Johnson. I'm Director of Business Development. What I want to talk to you this morning about, just for a few minutes, is why would you engage business development? Think about business development around strategic growth, recruiting, ongoing trainings, anything that you need to do around growing your business, no matter what line it is, as long as it's something that we're helping you work with. So think about when you're working on your business plans, your marketing plans, engage business development in the middle of that. They might be able to come in and talk about ways to expand into new territories, expand into new markets, new verticals, maybe new office locations that are going on with different vendors that are out there. When you're going through your marketing plans, think about us too on that piece, because you might be putting together customer events. You might be putting together end user events around a certain technology. Think about us on that piece, because we can bring many things to you that you've heard through the show while you're out here. Even if it's bringing in a guest speaker, a technologist that can speak on your behalf, think about engaging business development on that piece. The other piece I want to kind of cover real quick is I want to talk about the structure of business development so everybody kind of understands that. Business development is structured where we have territory business development reps, and then we have specialized reps that are overlays around certain verticals, certain technologies, whether it's around wireless or infrastructure. That's the way it's set up across the country. We have an SISP specialist, service provider specialist. Then you just heard from Stephanie talking about enablement. The other part I want to talk about enablement, and just say it one more time. That's if you're brand new and if you're current and you've been around and you've got new employees coming on, or refreshing everybody. Refreshing all the tools, because we're coming out with tools all the time, but I want you to make sure that you get refreshed. So just don't think about it as when you're starting a business or starting a line. Think about it all the time about going back through those enablement sessions while you have a chance. And then the last piece I want to talk about is I want to bring up Kyle and Thomas and talk about our public sector market.
My name is Kyle Candler. I joined the ScanSource family in 2005 in a different business unit. I was with the security business unit. And I joined Catalyst in February of this year as a public sector business development specialist, and I handle the non-Fed business. And I want to introduce Thomas to you, and he's going to talk to you about the federal business.
Yes, so how many people, I'm going to take a quick poll, how many people currently today are selling in the public sector space? State, local, education, healthcare, higher ed, federal government. Okay, great. Because of you, I now have help. Thank you. I'm Thomas Turner. I've been with Catalyst for 9 years on the business development team. I'm focused primarily now on the federal government, the DoD and civilian agencies. So I work with resellers and our vendors on how to tackle this challenging market. The IT technology spend in 2012 was roughly around $80 billion, okay? If you're in this market today, the good news is it's going to increase. So the projections for 2013 in IT technology procurement is going to be roughly $105 billion. That's more than JG makes, right? Just a little bit? That's not what he's worth. Okay. Another nice thing about this market is it's virtually recession-proof. It's always going to be there. It's always going to increase. It's always going to grow. It's never going away. So if you're already in that space, you should feel secure that you always have a market to sell into. Procurement location. It's another key thing. How many, let me guess, let's see, how much procurement in IT technology in the federal space occurs in Maryland, DC, and Virginia? Any guess? 90%? 32%. 32. Which means that if you're not in DC, Maryland, or Virginia, there's procurement going on all across the country in IT spend for the DoD and civilian agencies. Contract vehicles, they're a must. You got to have access to contract vehicles in order to play in this space, whether it's through our vendor contracts or through system integrators that are looking for chances to agency with them. We can help you and assist you in those areas.
So let's talk a little bit about the non-federal space. We'll start with state and local. The projected IT spend for 2013 in state and local government market is $92 billion. It's a lot of money. There's a lot of challenges there, understanding the process. Each state has its own process to purchase. They have their own contracts. They have different vehicles to do that. So understanding that process is crucial to working in the state and local government market, and just understanding that process. One of the drawbacks to some people is the sales cycle. The average sales cycle is 275 days for a project. The flip side to that is it's about 4 to 10 times the value of the public sector or the private sector projects. So it's a lot more lucrative. In fact, some of the state contracts, if you hold a state contract over the life of it, could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, depending on what that contract is. So a very big opportunity in the state and local government market. When we talk about education, education consists of approximately 99,000 K-12 institutions, about 34,000 private schools, and around 6,700 institutions of higher learning. So I would imagine each of you probably have a school somewhere close to you. So there's a tremendous opportunity there. There's a lot of technology changing right now. The E-rate program is the largest funding source for technology in schools. So every year it's approximately $2.3 billion that's allocated to funding technology in K-12 institutions. So anytime we can find money to help our customers pay for what we're doing, that's a plus. That's what the E-rate program does. A big driver in this market is the digitization of textbooks. And I read an article recently that called them tech books, which I thought was very creative. Tech book. Y'all get that? You know what I mean? Yeah, tech books. Okay. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute on the next slide. But technology is changing very rapidly in education. Now's a great time to be a part of that. Statistic for you, when we talk about healthcare, and you guys have probably heard this, but every day in this country, and for the next 18 years, 10,000 baby boomers reach the age of 65. So it's predicted that by the year 2030, approximately 18% of the population will be 65 or older. And let's face it, the older we get, the more health care we need. Healthcare is not going anywhere. There's a lot of talk now about legislation and healthcare reform. A lot of uncertainty about it right now. But the one thing that is certain is technology is playing a huge role in the advancement of the healthcare market. So really, really big opportunities there across the healthcare spectrum. So Greg Dixon talked a lot about these technologies, and these really span all of public sector and pretty much commercial as well. So I'm not going to bore you with a lot of the details. But I would say just about every day I have a conversation with somebody about BYOD. It's huge. It is a very, very huge trend going on right now in the marketplace. In schools, in education, it is extremely vital. And let me tell you why. There's a couple of reasons. One of the big reasons is, I mentioned tech books, my cool little tagline. Tech books are digital books. So there's a talk going on now, if everybody has digital books, the network at the school is going to have to support it. There's that one-to-one that everybody talks about. So the networks have to be beefed up, and they're going to have to be able to support this influx of digital technology. And so that is a huge driver. Another issue that makes this so important to schools is, how many of you guys have an iPad? Yeah, most everybody does. And most kids are starting to have those things too. And so if you look at technologies like Kindle, those type things, the kids have these. If they can bring them to school and use them, it cuts down on what the school has to spend for textbooks. So a lot of legislation now is starting to deal with funding for these types of applications. So let's take curriculum dollars. If we're not going to buy traditional textbooks anymore, let's take our curriculum dollars and allocate that towards the network. So a lot of money is being spent in schools, and there is a tremendous opportunity there for you guys. I'll let Thomas tell you about the rest of these.
Absolutely. Just like Kyle was saying, Greg Dixon hit on these yesterday quite a bit. Wireless mobility as well as data center are very, very prevalent in the federal government space, as well as BYOD with deployments, real-time applications, up all the time, never flawless, as well as security. And so with deployments and the movement and the increased space in Korea and Asia Pac, we're seeing a lot of mobility as well as data center consolidation. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about some of the things we can do to help you. These are just probably the top 6 that we deal with every day. We're talking to you guys as resellers and our vendors about these things every day. So GSA, prevalent, large. The spend on GSA has decreased. So procurement from the GSA schedule is down to about 47%, which means set-aside contracts are being more and more prevalent in the federal market space. In the with GSA, we have the ability to help you if you're interested in creating your own GSA. We can help you with that, as well as we can be a liaison between yourself and our vendors to help you get access to possibly their GSA schedule.
So state contracts are very similar. Again, I mentioned every state has its own procurement vehicle and way of doing business, so we can help you navigate those types of contract vehicles and understand what's required to do business with a state. We offer a lot of training, especially in education. This past week, last week actually, with one of our vendors, I did a webinar. They talked about their technology in K-12, and I talked about the E-rate program. A lot of questions around E-rate. It is a government program, so there's a lot of bureaucracy to deal with, but that's something that we can certainly help you with. Grant funding, again, finding money to help your customers pay for what you do is a big deal.
Leads. So we subscribe to a number of lead generation sources today. If you are not receiving leads from us today, please reach out to Kyle or myself. We'd like to understand exactly what verticals you're in, where do you want to grow, if you want to increase your business in that particular vertical. So we have the ability to take what we call a rifle shot approach instead of a shotgun approach and be very narrow in our scope of geography, end user, procurement, what you're looking for in those areas as far as buyers, trend times, what they're buying, who are the buyers list, what they're doing. So please feel free to reach out to Kyle or myself. We'd like to know more about how we can help you grow in the vertical market space. Inventory. All distribution says they carry inventory. I would say that Catalyst is the best at inventory, by far, right? And there's a lot of hard work that goes into that with our sales reps, our merchandising team, our resellers, our vendors, talking about pipelines, forecasts. We make sure we have the correct inventory when you need it. So in the federal space, for TAA, JITC, FIPS, all those wonderful things, we do a lot of research with our resellers as well as our vendors to know what deals are coming so we can have that product on the shelf and available when you need it. We've had some tremendous success in the federal space with this. We've won some very large deals, primarily due to the fact that we had the correct inventory, and we can do some things outside of the box that were very prevalent in the minds of the end user of why they chose the reseller they did. Not necessarily price, but what we could do to make it easier from a deployment standpoint. So what we did with this particular deal is we had a 37-site rollout. And with other distribution, you've got boxes coming all over the place. So what they decided to do was run with our reseller, because we took the approach of, hey, we'll bring it into our facility, we'll run it through our custom configuration center, which I believe you're going to hear more about later. And what we did was we staged it. We staged it by each rollout, all 37. Different phones, different sets, different data, different requirements, different wireless, and we won the deal. Seamless, flawless, shipped all from one location to the end user, all together, all correct. Not multiple pieces across the country.
And I'm going to brag real quick on our reseller financial services. When I started in the security group back in 2005, we had a project, and it was a municipal wireless mesh rollout, and it was the customer only had, they had 4, maybe 5 employees. It was a multi-million-dollar deal, and I thought from all my past lives and experiences in previous jobs that funding this project was going to be impossible. But that was my introduction to the Reseller Financial Services team. They funded it. It worked. It was a tremendous success. So really big asset having Reseller Financial Services. They do a lot of good things. So I want to say thank you. I know you guys, a lot of the guys in this room are doing public sector business. Thank you for your business. We very much appreciate it. It is a challenging market. There's a lot of challenges. In fact, it's been said that the only thing that saves us from the bureaucracy is its inefficiency. So, and there's a lot of truth to that. So if you're in the business today, or if you're looking to get into that and add that to your practice, Thomas and I are more than willing and very happy to help you efficiently navigate this challenging but very rewarding part of your business. So thank you for your time. And next up, we have a special treat from Catalyst Sales.